We're standing outside my video installation called Echt, which is a video work that describes a near future where government and British royal family have disappeared, and it describes this society where a kind of fast-track feudal system has evolved from people's hoarding tendencies. So the people who are in charge are the people that have stolen each other's lawnmowers or each other's televisions or each other's cars and so on. So it's the greediest people on each street who become the dukes, and then higher than them you have then the kings. You know, it's I suppose it's like going back to the beginning. I started to think a few years ago, just by looking at the kind of cars that people were driving in the UK, like big four-wheel drive cars, and this kind of suggested to me an idea that people were becoming selfish, you know, not worrying about their fellow man, you know, wanting to worry about protecting them and their families in big blacked out cars. And maybe even the way, maybe with internet, for example, that people don't socialise so much in the UK anymore. People's lives all happen behind closed doors and indoors. So this was suggesting this kind of new selfishness or something, and that if I took that to its kind of craziest conclusion, that would be a kind of new society where people are super selfish, you know, and which causes a collapse and people just become hyper greedy, and you have people caught in the middle who just not greedy enough or like aren't lucky enough to be there at the right time, so that they live in nightclubs just on the floor or something with these horrible new kings and queens in charge. I'm not saying that the future will be anything like what I've predicted in my film, but there's hints of it, you know. There's incidences of people behaving badly on public transport, and you know, maybe Brexit will encourage a kind of insularity in the British psyche that really isn't welcome at the moment. I think Britain should be part of Europe because Europe makes Britain behave a bit better, you know. It makes it more responsible or something. And we're just living in a selfish time, I think. So as well as the exhibition, I have been running a video performative workshop with the artist Taishani from London about how as artists we can work with this idea of the demonic personality, how we can exaggerate our own personal traits into some kind of diabolical, you know, monster version of ourselves. And because of this kind of mythical black magic history that Turin has, and also the architecture and the aesthetic of the city, it's a perfect place to do that. So when we've been filming at night the last few days, we've been able to get this really atmospheric feel, you know, being able to film in locations where films like Profondo Rosso were filmed, you know, things like that made it a no-brainer for me in terms of what kind of project I'd like to do here. You know, asking people to imagine crazy versions of themselves and then make a film with them, that's good. It seemed like a fun thing to do. Each one of the members of the workshop have reacted in totally different ways. So we've had people freaking out in front of statues, other people pouring salt into the eyes of the devil in the pavement, and so on. So it's, probably in as many ways as the devil can appear to you, the students have reacted similarly.